And the title is The Basic Study on Sound and Vibration Propagation Caused by External Flow Affecting Interior Noise and Railway Vehicles. A collaborative study of the railway train car manufacturer, Nippon Sharyo. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to introduce our co-researcher, Nippon Sharyo. Nippon Sharyo is one of the major manufacturers of Japan's high-speed railway, the Shinkansen. So far, they've built more than 4,000 train cars, which is highest number in Japan, and that record is still growing. One of their current research topics is reproducing fluid noise that travel inside the train cabin. When the train runs at high speed, the equipment mounted around the vehicle body disturbs the airflow and generates the aerodynamic noise. This noise not only affects the environment around the trucks, but also enters the cabin and reduces passenger comfort. Aerodynamic noise can be divided into two parts: the fluid-induced noise, which comes from fluctuations in the air itself, like vortex noise, and the flow-excitation noise, which is caused by pressure fluctuations acting as an excitation force on the structure. At high speed, flow-induced noise, which strongly depends on air velocity, is the main source of exterior noise. On the other hand, inside a train, however, the situation is more complicated. The interior noise is a mix of both flow-induced and flow-excitation noise, and it's very difficult to study their relationship under real operating conditions, especially inside a running train cars. That's why we need a prediction method that's accurate enough to be used in practice. In the study, we created a small experimental model to evaluate how external airflow affects internal noise using a compact low-noise wind tunnel. We also verified that the numerical analysis was consistent with the experimental result. Since fluid noise analysis usually requires a lot of computation time, we also performed a simplified analysis to check whether accurate result can be obtained at a more practical engineering cost. Okay, the figure 1 shows the experimental setup in a small low-noise wind tunnel. So this is a self-made wind tunnel in my laboratory. The goal of this study is to investigate how aerodynamic noise generated by external flow caused by various obstacles, such as roof-mounted equipment, affect the noise propagated inside a box-shaped model. The wind tunnel used here is a self-made semi-Göttingen type tunnel with a nozzle size of 130 by 130 millimeters, maximum airflow velocity of 45 meters per second, and a background noise level of about 65 decibel A at maximum speed. An obstacle was placed directly in line with the nozzle, and the bottom of the obstacle was supported by the top plate of the box and represent the interior of a vehicle. The airflow passed over the top plate surface, so only the obstacle was directly exposed to the wind. To simulate how aerodynamic noise generated outside propagates into the interior, microphones and accelerometers were installed inside and outside the box, as well as on the top panel. Sound-absorbing materials were also placed inside the box to prevent resonance from internal acoustic modes from dominate the actual phenomena. For the measurement, we used 1 point each for external noise, top plate vibration, and internal noise. The external microphone was placed at a height 3 times of the nozzle diameter above the front of the obstacle. The vibration of the top plate was measured using accelerometer attached to the underside of the plate, which is not exposed to the wind. And finally, the internal noise was measured using a microphone placed inside the box. And the figure 2 and table 1 showed the list of obstacles tested in this study. The obstacle shapes were based on a rectangular block with dimension of 40 millimeters in length, 80 millimeters in width, and 40 millimeters in height. A 20 millimeter fillet was added to the edges. Several variations were tested and compared in front of the wind tunnel nozzle. From our previous experimental studies, we confirmed that the influence of obstacle shape can be clearly observed inside the box noise. Okay, this is the simulation setup. The figure 3 shows the numerical model used in this study. In this work, the CFD results were used as the aerodynamic sound source for the computational aeroacoustics CAA analysis. Therefore, CFD and CAA were calculated separately. For the CFD model, on the left-hand side, only the region above the top plate, where the airflow mainly passes, was reproduced when the experimental setup. The airflow velocity was set to 30 meters per second. For the CAA model, the area around the obstacle on the top plate was extracted as the fluid noise source region. The sound-absorbing material inside the box was modeled using three-dimensional element with bioparameters such as flow resistance to represent its acoustic properties. The table 2 shows an overview of the simulation settings. In this study, the open form was used as the CFD tool, and the Actran was used as the CAA tool. The main coupling method between CFD and CAA was SNGR, which stands for stochastic noise generation radiation. In this study, two approaches were compared. The first one is SNGR, a simplified method that generates aerodynamic sound source using random fluctuations based on the average turbulent kinetic energy obtained from lands. Okay. The second is the normal CAA method, denoted as NCAA, which creates aeroacoustic sources from time series data obtained by LES, large eddy simulation, using the discrete Fourier transform. The Actran provides a utility that allows aeroacoustic sources to be reconstructed from CFD result and mapped onto the source region defined in the CAA model. Okay, let's talk about the results and discussions. Figure 4 shows a comparison between the experimental measurement and the analysis result in order to confirm the reproducibility of the prediction. With the NCAA method in green line, both vibration and interior noise were predicted quantitatively well. However, exterior noise, the outside noise, was overestimated, suggesting that not all of the fluid excitation components in the actual phenomenon are converted into sound. On the other hand, with the SNGR method in red line, the exterior noise matched the measured data well, but both vibration and interior noise were underestimated. This is likely because the vibration, which represents the fluid excitation component, was underestimated, and the SNGR method does not theoretically model the excitation effect. Next, the figure 5 shows a comparison of the result with and without the top fillet. This is the comparison of the obstacle shape. Here, we examined whether the influence of the obstacle shape could be predicted in each simulation. For the interior noise, the noise around 160 Hz, circled here, which correspond to the structural mode of the top plate, became dominant due to the excitation caused by the airflow. When the top fillet was added, the fluid excitation component became weaker, and as a result, the level around the dominant frequency was reduced. Although there were some quantitative differences between the NCA and SNGR result, both methods were able to predict the effect of the top fillet. From this result, it was confirmed that SNGR can be effectively used for qualitative prediction of the internal noise. Okay, finally, we evaluated the advantage of the SNGR method in terms of the simulation cost. In this model, the calculation time was reduced to about 1/7 of the normal analysis, showing a significant improvement. This is because unsteady calculations were no longer required in CFD when generating the sound source. However, the memory usage and the storage requirements of the analysis PC increased compared to the normal method. This is because SNGR uses random fluctuations to generate fluctuation component from the averaged flow field, which result in large sound source and analysis result files. To apply SNGR to real-world cases, for example, the analysis of railway vehicles, it will be necessary to optimize the setup to reduce memory and storage demands. Okay, to summarize, the accuracy of the numerical simulations was validated using experimental data. In the SNGR method, although some differences from the measurement were seen in the top rate vibration and the internal noise, the same overall trend regarding the obstacle shape was successfully reproduced. To verify these quantitative differences, the normal CA method using LES-based sound sources was also performed. It was found that the presence or absence of the fluid excitation component in the sound source significantly affected the acoustic result. For more accurate evaluations, it will be necessary to analyze exterior and interior noise separately. As for the advantage of SNGR, the analysis time was greatly reduced, demonstrating its efficiency. However, it also requires higher PC specifications, which remains the challenges for applying this method to full-scale vehicle analysis. In future work, we plan to further improve the accuracy of practical CA method using this experimental model and to quantitatively clarify how flow-induced and flow-excitation noise from the external airflow propagate into internal noise. Okay, that's all. Thank you for your attention.